trying to do for real, for real. Cosmic, psychedelic funk is what I came to do. Yep. Hi. I'm so by funky. Hey. So by funky. Hi. I'm so by cosmic soul.
Hey there, everybody. What's going on? Yours truly, Toccara Nicole, aka the Identity Architect. And yes, it is another episode of
The Author's Authority Lounge.
Woo!
The Toccara, the official
TV
show for authors.
show for authors. Look, we are super excited about today's episode for a very special reason.
So I think what's important for our audience to lock in on today is the fact that this brings to conclusion the year 2024. So Toccara and I just want to take some time to just kind of talk about how things went in year one. We're excited about what year 2025 is going to bring into the picture.
Yeah.
And just really take some time to let our audience know what we're looking at doing in 2025. So I'm excited, Toccara.
Man, you know, authorship is such a journey for anybody who is on that pathway. And for those of you that are looking to be on that pathway, you have to really shift your mind to understand the power of authorship and what it brings to your life. Wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. I think that when you stop and look at the whole picture, I would encourage our audience to recognize that each of us have a story to tell.
Absolutely.
We don't want to get into a cycle of minimizing what it is that we think
Right.
is worth sharing.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we have more to share than what we realize our own selves.
Yeah.
So by virtue of authorship, if you're in a position to do that, you definitely want to explore that opportunity because it's there. It can be done in so many different formats,
Yes.
in so many different arenas,
Right.
that why not take that opportunity to share what your story is about or what your journey is about or what you've learned that you can pass on to others.
And that's so good because sometimes when people write a book, it's, well, I'm writing it for this specific purpose. And there are many times where they're writing it for self, which is great, right? And sometimes we don't realize that there's other people who need what we're putting in a book. And so let's recap what this year has brought for us just by doing this TV show. And if I may, I started this journey alone and then said, you know what, I need to bring some people along on this journey with me. And that's how Alan and also Nicole got on the journey of being TV show hosts. So let's talk about that, Alan. What has it done for you to realize that there was another gift that was kind of just tucked away, you know? So I know we talk about it privately, but...
You know, it's been really an amazing transformation because in terms of my professional life and my life outside my career, when I've done things in music, things like that as a lyricist, I've always been in the background. So I'm not that person who is, say, center stage,
Right.
that the spotlight is on.
Yeah.
So to find myself in this position now where I'm a co-host of this fabulous TV show, it's really something of a shock in a way. But when you and Nicole were asking me about doing this, there was at first a degree of hesitancy to say, ooh, I don't know about that because that's not who I am. But I realized that what I had to do was I had to step out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I had to say, you know what? I can do this.
Right.
And why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
So I think that really speaks to each of us when we are in a position where we are being presented with a new opportunity,
For sure.
a new challenge. The human instinct is to say, I don't know about that. That might be out of my wheelhouse as such. But I encourage everybody to take that opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to get out there and I'm going to give it a try.
Yes.
Because I need to find out if I can do this. And I think also, too, when we stretch out and when we step outside our comfort zone, we do then begin to find that we have more inside of us
Yes.
than what we realize. But a lot of times, other people can see something in us that we can't see in ourselves.
That's really good. And one of the things that I love that you talked about is that authorship takes you on a journey. And in order for you to embrace the totality of your authorship journey, you're going to have to step out of your comfort
Yes.
zone. And you're going to have to really embrace the new and not be afraid of it. And so you also said something, and I get this all the time. Recently, I was at a conference in Houston, and I met this young lady, and she said, "I'm your mirror." I wanted to like fall on the floor.
Wow.
And as she was talking to me, I was talking to her. So we became each other's mirrors, meaning we saw each other. And so when you step out into these new places, it allows for you to see yourself and then come aside other people who see you and vice versa. And it's such an amazing exchange. Yet we have to take the step. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable to learn something new. And so when you said that I saw something in you, I saw you being a co-host. I saw Nicole being a co-host, not just because we're business partners, but I saw that you had what it takes, and you've sat in this seat when I couldn't, and I thank you for that publicly. I thank you privately, but I thank you publicly as you are stepping out and figuring out your new comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I got it, and you nailed it. Now you're like, all right, what's up? What's next? Let's go. You said what? And that's what happens when you step out into something new. It's like this contagious feeling. It's these emotions that you continuously do new things and you adapt to them, or you decide to shrink back because you realize that mentally you might not be ready for the new. But I even challenge people with that. Are you really mentally not ready, or you just haven't done to work to be ready?
I think sometimes too, there is a certain degree of reticence on our part to say, well, am I really qualified to do this new thing?
Yeah.
We as human beings have an amazing capacity to talk ourselves out of a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
We are experts at doing that. Trust me, I've been an expert at doing that as well.
Yeah.
But at some point, I believe you have to stop that conversation internally, and you want to kind of shift your mindset, and you want to say, you know what? What's going to happen if I try? Or even worse, there is the aspect of what if.
Yes.
And when I say what if can be haunting in the respect that you look back later and you say, what if I tried this? Or what if I tried that? Mm-hmm. I learned the power and the impact of what if from my grandmother 40, 50 years ago in terms of something that she did not do. And then she spent the next 50, 60 years of her life going back over and saying, what if I had done this or what if I had done that? And I remember when I was like 21, 22, she was talking about this. And it haunted me for a long time. It really became a moment of motivation, so that I took the conversation to mean that you don't want to have a lot of those what if moments. Because most of the times, what if means the time and the season has come and gone.
Yeah.
And you cannot go back and recreate that.
Yeah.
And in her case, it haunted her, like I said, for the last 50, 60 years of her life.
Man.
And that's something I said, I don't want that shadow
Yes.
to hang over me for the rest of my life. And I was 22 at that time. So I've always kind of defaulted to that when I looked at something and I said, man, but I don't want to be in a position of saying, what if? And sometimes, unfortunately, the events from somebody else's life, even though they might not be a positive one, can serve as a positive reinforcement for each of us in terms of what it is that we want to learn from, we want to grow through,
Yeah.
and maybe not repeat something in that same type of situation.
Yes. And so, ooh, that's so good. That's rich. One of the things I talk about as a life coach is getting down to the root of that thing so we don't repeat the cycle. We're not living that surface kind of life to where we are just living such a easy breezy life because we're scared, intimidated of digging deeper. So let's talk about some of the amazing guests that we've had on our first season of this show. One that comes to my mind immediately is CJ Jackson. She was just phenomenal in all that she does. She hosts the Phenomenal Woman Conference. She has a Phenomenal Woman Academy. And she came on the show and talked about all things her workbook. And so when we talk about authorship, it's not always telling your story.
True.
It's about how can you impact people and meet them where they're at through that tool that's called a book. And so I think about that because we talk about life stories. However, her life stories have led her to create the Phenomenal Woman Academy, which hence she now has the Phenomenal Woman Conference every year. So she's storytelling through her academy and then giving us the nuggets and jewels through her workbook. CJ Jackson, you're amazing. We love you. You can find her book on Amazon and check out the Phenomenal Woman Academy that is right here in Omaha, Nebraska. If you're not from Omaha, still check it out.
And the thing that I'm impressed with that is I wasn't a part of that interview, but think about the fact, Toccara, that here she started out in this arena called authorship.
Yeah.
But think about that being the foundation that she has built on and how from that particular point, she's been able to build other things like this conference. She's using the workbooks, which are a way to engage someone,
Absolutely.
cause someone to stop, think, and reflect.
Right.
And then say, okay, how does the content of this particular workbook, how does that speak to me?
Right.
What from there can I internalize that's going to make the path that I'm following even better? So that's the power of authorship again, because it's not just what is written. It is as much as anything what is written and what has the potential to be impactful.
And we have to understand that we have something that's impactful. And a lot of people are sitting on their gifts when it comes to authorship. Some people feel like, well, I can't write a memoir. No one's telling you to write the memoir. No. That's not it. Maybe it's the self-help tool. So let's talk about self-help books. Self-help books are an amazing way to get people to understand a message. And it doesn't have to be long. Let's talk about short reads. A short read is less than 100 pages. And when you think about the world that we live in nowadays, people say that they don't have enough time, even though you have 168 hours in a week. 168 hours in a week. Let's just let that marinate.
True.
You have time for what you want to make time for, right? But when you're looking at a short read, it's just something where you can get in and get out and run. We all have something that we've mastered that we can literally write a book about. It's the mindset of us to really say, do I have what it takes to write a book? And I remember a conversation you and I had early on when we first started our business relationship, talking about how there's so many different ways to write a book now.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I don't recommend utilizing ChatGPT to write your entire book. That's a no-no. Because people want to hear your voice. They want to hear your story, right? But there are so many tools out here nowadays that can help you to get your book done.
That's the amazing thing as we look at this time period that we're in now in the 2025s moving forward. You have so many different tools that you have access to.
Right.
And so you don't necessarily want to work harder.
Right.
You want to work smarter.
Exactly.
That's the real key. And I want to kind of go back to something that you said too, that there has to be a paradigm shift in terms of what we conceive a book to be.
Right.
And by that, what I mean is that a book does not have to be 300 or 400 pages long.
Oh my God, say it again. I had a clarity session. I call them aha sessions with a young lady who is now a client. She told me two things. One, listen closely, you guys. One, a book doesn't have to cost you 5 figures to write. She received a quote for them to write her book, it being $32,500.
No.
And I'm like, absolutely not. The other thing, like you said, your book doesn't have to be 300 and 400 pages. It can literally be, I've seen some of the most powerful books be 30 pages.
Yes.
40 pages. And I always reference, when I learned it, what I'm about to share, I always reference it. When T.D. Jakes, if you know who T.D. Jakes is, you know who he is, right? When he started out writing books, they were pamphlets, right? With so many nuggets and jewels inside of them. So it doesn't have to be this dissertation that you create that makes you an author. No.
And the thing to keep in mind, something I always go back to, it's not about the quantitative aspect. It's about the qualitative aspect.
Absolutely.
Because you can have a book like you mentioned, which is 30 pages.
Yeah.
How powerful is the content within those 30 pages?
Skirt. That's the answer right there. Powerful content. Please continue.
So the content is what speaks volumes.
Yes.
The content is what will last with somebody.
Yes.
Not the fact that it's 300 or 400 pages long.
Right.
So one of my former students has written, I think, 2 books now. And they are children's books.
Oh, I love those.
And I think each book, Toccara, is maybe 25, 26 pages long.
Yeah.
But the story and the conclusion in each book is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
She captured it
Yeah.
in a qualitative manner in a shorter amount of pages because she recognized that it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality.
And that's all people want. They are looking for a guide. They're looking for answers. They're looking for solutions. And it doesn't have to be long and drawn out. Let's talk about Dr. Thompson and his book.
So Dr. Thompson and I, of course, we went to college together back in the dark ages.
Stop saying that.
And this is when he had a fro and I had a fro.
I need pictures. I still need social
See,
proof for that.
y'all, she don't believe that just because I got none, that I didn't have some back in the day.
Who wants to see this?
That is
social
so
proof?
wrong.
We
That
need to
is
see
so
this
wrong.
social proof. I'm sorry.
Anyway, let me get myself together after I've been insulted. But anyway, the story of Dr. Thompson is so powerful because it speaks to somebody who was going through the formative years of his life, dealing with so many obstacles that could have really caused him just to throw in the towel. But he never gave up and he continued to persevere.
Yeah.
He continued to press on to get to the point where he is today.
Man.
And the story in there should speak volumes to people who are going through their own circumstance. They're dealing with things that seem to be insurmountable.
Yeah.
But they can draw inspiration from somebody like a Dr. Thompson and say, you know what? He made it through. He found what was inside to really push him through everything. I have the ability, I have the opportunity to do the same thing.
And that's why people should write a book. We all have gone through something.
Yes.
And our testimonies help other people. And it doesn't have to be the long drawn out book like we talked about. It can just be nuggets, concepts. And that's how we win as authors. And not thinking, this is the other myth. We're going to talk about it just a little bit, but a book is not going to make you rich overnight.
No.
Writing a book is not going to make you rich overnight. And so when you see the New York Times best-selling authors, there's a reason why they're a New York Times best-selling author, and it's because of their following, it's because of the money that they put up, and it's thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Now, what I will say is that your book does have the power to make you an authoritative figure through you being an author, because the word author is in the word authority. Let that marinate.
That was tight. That was tight. And you know what's powerful about that is because I think when we go into authorship, each of us are going to have that vision. Yeah, man, I'm going to be on the New York Times bestseller list, and I'm going to be killing it. And for 99.9% of us as authors, that's probably not the case.
Right.
But then as well, what I have learned through my journey in authorship is, how do you as that individual, how do you define success? Success is going to be different for each and every one of us. Now, for me, I did not define my success and will not define my success by the fact that I've got 1 million books sold or whatever. That would be great.
Right.
But for me, success is number one, the fact that I was blessed to be able to write not 1 book, not 2, but 3.
Yes.
To take me into places that I never anticipated.
Right.
Success for me is being able to say that, you know what? If I did this and I started at 60 years of age with no idea what I was doing,
Yeah.
imagine what you can do in this new millennium
Right.
with access to different tools
That's it.
that can take you where you want to go, and hopefully much further than I've ever gone.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, what is your definition of success? For me, it wasn't about the finance. Yeah, I'd like to make a lot of money selling books, but I'm looking at the residual
Yes.
aspect of success in terms of self-development, my ability to connect with people such as you and Nicole, the opportunities I've been blessed to do interviews, not just locally, but internationally.
Right.
So that is a part of my definition of success. And who can I inspire? Who, by virtue of what I've been shared to write, who am I inspiring? Who am I speaking to?
Yeah.
That realistically I may never see.
Yes.
So keep in mind too, your authorship vehicle that you utilize, you're going to speak to somebody you may never see or meet in your life.
Right.
Because that's the power of the word.
And understanding that we all have a journey,
Yes.
and authorship may not be the journey that you thought you would go on, but based off of what you're doing, especially coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, anybody who has a product or service, you need some type of book. And so at times we don't see authorship being a lane that we even want to swerve into, because of the myths and because of other people's experiences around authorship. And that's what I love about what we're building with the AAAG. With the few minutes we have left, we're going to talk about what AAAG is and how we're pivoting. So you want to start? You want me to start?
I'll let you go ahead and start.
Alrighty. So we are starting what is called AAAG, which is the Authorship Guild. I had to get the words right. The Authors Authority Authorship Guild. I had a minute because those are a lot of words together. And what we're building is a community. What we're building is an opportunity to learn from experts like myself, Nicole, Alan, to be able to embrace your authorship journey even the more, and to be around like-minded individuals who get it, and to ask the questions and to do the masterminds together, and just to really create that unity within our community of authors. So that's really exciting. We've been working on it for about 1.5 years or so. Nicole and I started working on it, and then we brought Alan into the fold, and we're really excited about what we're building, because we've realized that there is a need for authors to really be able to understand their power, but to expand their knowledge and to really own and thrive in that lane called authorship.
I think that's important too with AAAG, because let's go back to the example of the young lady who someone said they'll put a book together and everything for 32.5.
Woo!
Now, those are the kind of things that with AAAG, because we are building a collaborative community that we are looking forward to helping people with, because let's just be real here, Toccara. You don't need to be spending $32,000 to have somebody publish your book.
No, you don't.
But if they're publishing your book for $32,000, they should guarantee you 100 million sales.
Something,
Okay.
and that's not the case. They're not doing
No.
it.
So when we're talking about this community, we're talking about building a community where we can all connect with each other.
Yes.
We can learn from each other. We can support each other.
Yes.
It's not reinventing the wheel when we recognize the fact that there is strength in numbers.
Yes.
When you come together, you create a collaborative environment.
Yes.
Everybody is going to benefit.
Oh, for sure.
That rule has been in place from the beginning of time.
Yes.
It's not going away anytime soon. So that's what I'm excited about. Just the fact that, hey, we're going to put this vehicle in place where we know we can come together, we can help each other, and we can push each other to the next level.
And that's what it's about. It's about really understanding your lane, how to thrive. And so I am a publisher as well as an author, speaker, coach. And
I do the writing side, I do editing. I'm also looking at doing some things and other opportunities within TV. I do blogging. And so there's so many different roads that you can go with this thing called authorship.
Yes.
But AAAG is going to be here going into 2025. We're taking it to the next level. 2025, we're going to bring this whole thing alive.
And we're that's the lyricist. That's the lyricist, And so stay tuned. If you are interested in being a part of the AAAG, you can text the AAAG to 877-904-0787. Again, the AAAG to 877-904-0787. And once you do that, we will capture your name, email address, and then we'll take you to our page and you'll be able to learn more. Real quick, Alan, how can people get in touch with you?
My website is alantblack.com.
And if you're looking for yours truly, you can find me at yourauthor'sauthority, all one word.com. And it's a wrap. We have the first season of the Authors Authority Lounge, the official show for authors in the books. Shout out to KPAO. Thank you for all you do. And let's go season 2.
What you trying to do for real? For real. Cosmic psychedelic funk is what I came to do.